everyone, it's Sean. Welcome back to the channel. Got the red mat out and blue mat on the floor because I got quite a bit of work ahead of me. Hold on a second. Had a potential customer come in and give me 2 radios, and this video is probably just going to be more of an exploration. I told him I'd take a look at this radio and one other we'll look at here in a second. He's not looking for a full restoration, just to get them electrically safe, to be able to turn on and function. But we have a Motorola suitcase radio. Other pin is in this bag, but essentially this was designed to fit on the front like this, and then you just fold it upwards and reveal your 65L11, I think. That back came off. But yeah, it's a 6-tube radio set versus your traditional All-American 5. I think the model number is 65L11. I have to verify that, but we taking a look at this, and again, there's not going to be a whole lot of repair, if any, in this specific video. I'm just going to be going over common things that, because I need to write them a quote for restoring this and the other one. Common things that need to be replaced, things I need to address, annotating it all so I can provide a decent quote. And then over here, this one's going to be a bit more of a project. We have a Philco 38, model 38-4, I believe. It's a rather interesting radio, 8-tube set. Think 1930s era cabinet set. So this will definitely be a blue glove wearing clean up kind of deal. It's enough dirt and lint all over it to probably clone a human being, but rather interesting dial, designed to tune your three gangs back there, tunable cavities. But I think you're allowed up to 8 presets. So essentially, get this cord out of the way. This guy would pop into wherever you would put these teeth, and then you had presets for your most favorite radio stations. But obviously, quite a bit of cleaning. This thing is super dirty, in need of quite a bit of work. Common things. I'm surprised that this just isn't crumbling. This is part of the power cord, but still going to need to be replaced. I mean, you see cracked failure points in the line cord there. This goes to the dynamic speaker. Seen better days. And quite a bit of work this guy get done. Then when we look in the cabinet, I've gone ahead and vacuumed this out just a tad bit, not a whole lot, but speaker seems to be, other than dirty, first appearance fairly okay, not that good of condition. We can see that the cone is damaged, so I don't know if I'll be able to patch that, or if we're going to be looking at getting a new cone or an entire new speaker. I have to determine that. It's one of those immediate things that are going to be on the list. Other than that, I really like the dial on this. I think that's rather unique. I think that's pretty cool. I don't think the fabric on the front is original. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't know if it is or isn't, but yeah, it's kind of ugly. It's like a carpet. It's not really I don't know if I'd call that a cabinet fabric. I would expect something a little more thinner. Looks like somebody took an old rug and shoved it on the board. But yeah, that's the 2 that we're going to be looking at today, and got to get up a quote for we'll call it more of a resurrection, I guess, than a restoration. But look at a few components, make a list, try to identify as many things as possible that need to get replaced to make them electrically safe. Might throw them up on the Variac, I don't know, just to see how they will perform, barring if that line cord isn't shorted out anywhere. But yeah, here goes the lab. Excuse the mess. If you haven't seen my lab before, it's a bit of a mess. Components and stuff all in those boxes over there. Test equipment, etc. But oh, and my son gave me a little bit of wall art. Made himself a little Minecraft guy with a zapper. Thought that was interesting, so up on the wall it goes, and he's happy. But yeah, let me. I think we'll start with the Motorola. Let me get it on the bench. So it's on top of my bench now. I'm willing to bet these dial knobs need to come off in order to remove the set from its case. There goes the power cord. Have that right over here. Yeah, it's definitely in poor condition. That will be getting cut. Doesn't even have the plug. That is brittle and cracking. Yeah. Cables that come out of here. Let's see. Kind of matches this one over here. Well, what does that say? Black and yellow 45 volt B battery. Black and white. What is that? I guess this was black and white. Is 45 volt B battery. And green and red. Two 4.5 volt battery hookups. Alright, so you would have some probably dry cell batteries or something sitting in this cabinet to power it, because these radios would operate off of AC or DC. That would be the DC component. Not really seeing screws or anything. Maybe one screw right in that upper corner over there. But it's like the husks of several dead critters as well, so let me get this out of the case and then we'll come back. Okay, getting it out of this chassis was not as difficult as I was thinking. Well, I didn't think it was going to be too difficult anyways, but I did have to clip the antenna wires here and here. They attach to the antenna that it's kind of like towards the top of the chassis where the handle is at, but underneath the chassis. So I clipped those and they got to get replaced anyways. The fabric that's wound around the conductor is all tore up to begin with. What I thought was a bunch of critters, I now know better. What I believe occurred is there was a mouse living here at some point and it chewed up quite a bit of stuff, which is why there's so much debris inside this radio. But I've cleaned it up just a tad bit, mostly just to look at these two tubes. They don't look like they've gone to air to me. There goes our tuner right here on this side. Looks like we have 3 stages of manual tuning here. One at the antenna. It's probably our IF tuning cans. But the internals of the radio here, like they're all encased, so that's actually pretty nice. That means that you got a little bit of shielding per se from any external influences. We'll have to take these off and take a look at the insides. Yeah, not too much to write home about with the plate. It's going to need a lot of cleaning up. Whatever, it's either battery residue or mouse poop. It's definitely going to have to get cleaned up. There's just 3 nuts around there that I was able to take out. Looks like there was a 4th at one point right down here, but that one was missing. So, but speaker seems to be in good condition. Slightly concerned if these are going to have tin whiskers in them, whether they'll work. Check. I can ohm out our coil here leading to the speaker, our transformer, audio transformer. Get it. So long as it doesn't appear short, it should be good, I would hope. Let's take a look underneath. And there we go. Yes. Looks like all original caps in here. Not seeing too many things that have been replaced, if anything at all. This cap here's back end is definitely blown out. That's going to have to get replaced. I mean, all these paper foil caps, let me zoom in a tad bit, will need to be replaced. At this point, they are probably definitely no good. Is this our filter cap? What is this? Which one's going to our chassis? This one right here, yeah. That guy especially is going to have to get replaced. It's kind of interesting. Like the negative terminal to this cap right here. Not just the cap that goes to this extra wires wrapped around. I mean, that to prevent oscillation within the circuit. Some kind of choke as well. It's pretty interesting. But yeah, all these paper foil capacitors guarantee you they're bad. They're going to get removed. That's pretty easy. We might have some type of rectifier sitting in here. Maybe a selenium rectifier. I'll have to check the schematic again, take a look at that. But if it is, that will most likely need to be replaced. Yeah, other than a lot of cleaning, this one appears to be pretty straightforward. So I'm going to poke around inside a bit with looking at the IPB and checking our resistors in this potentiometer, but I need to do that in order to price this one out. But even if we get the components changed out in it, I don't know, maybe just go ahead and remove this battery voltage cables. I mean, do you really need it? If we can get working off AC, I'll talk to the individual about that. I'd rather just gut that out and not have to worry about that. If it is feasible. Weird little terminal block right here. Of course, is that where our AC is coming into? Yeah. Come to this block. That's definitely going to have to be checked out. No, that's an old style fuse or block or just a terminal block. Not too sure. And I'll look at the schematic to figure that out. But yeah, this appears to be fairly straightforward. Cap cleaning, potentially some resistors, replacing some resistors, but other than that, it looks like the bulk of the work is going to be getting this thing cleaned. I have to see what components I have in stock versus what's in here as well. But there we have it. Nice little Motorola radio. Should be fairly straightforward. Yeah, I'm not even going to bother putting this up on the Variac, especially seeing this cap blown out. It's not worth it. It's going to do one of two things. Either just going to motorboat and I clip the antenna anyways, or something worse could happen. And if the tubes aren't bad, I don't want them to go bad because I wanted to take a uneducated guess and just plug it straight in. So those components are going to get replaced before I even plug it in. On radiomuseum.com, you can see country manufacturer, Motorola, year 1946, broadcast receiver or past World War II tuner. Several pictures of this guy. Ours doesn't look too far off from these photos. Quality of it as well, not too far off as far as the product goes. Let's see, 6 tubes, like I said. Our IF is 455 kHz. Operates in the broadcast only medium wave band. Line batteries, AC DC 117 volts, 90 at 9 volts. Let's see, permanent magnet and dynamic speaker. Yep, model number 65L11. Channel is HS-7, which is on the chassis, so that's about it. Yeah. Yeah, several price guides. You can look up them, but that's going to be about really all we need to know. And then here goes our schematic overview, again pulled off of Radio Museum. Nothing too crazy to write home about here. Other than 6 tubes, it's really not a whole lot different than the Zenith radio we restored. RF amp, oscillator, IF amp, detectors / AF and AVC being developed off of here. Appears to be pin 5 if I'm reading that correctly. That should be our AVC. And 35 GT or 3Q5 GT. It's hard to tell. Probably 3Q5 GT. Power amp. Going to our speaker. Looks like that pad that was off on the side is probably part of the actual tuning of our oscillator. So I have to get the tuning instructions, see if I can find the alignments as well in here and take a look at it. But yeah, there you go. Alright, that's going to move us over to the Philco model 38-4, I think is actually what it is. Did a little bit of cleaning up and able to remove this tube from transformer on here. Hopefully the transformers are in good shape. We can probably test that tube out here in a minute. These cans that you see here with the most likely containing electrolytic capacitors, all these are going to have to be cut. This right here is bubbled up on top. Now I don't know if it was manufactured that way. I realize you can only see that on the small camera up here in the corner, but this top is bubbled up. Let's see if can I get this in the frame a little bit. There we go. Now I don't know if it was made that way, manufactured that way at all. Sorry, I should probably move the mic a tad bit closer. But it tells me that maybe these caps have expanded a bit and most likely no good. Just cleaning up. I mean, I think our 3-gang tuner here is salvageable. I mean, obviously there's a lot of rust, there's a lot of dirt. We're going to have to do a lot of cleaning. So that's a concern. Transformer, if he wants to go for a restoration, even if we component get all the components changed out and everything underneath the chassis, underneath here. Have to take this up on a very slowly, because that's the only definitive way that I can think of to test this transformer outside of just checking the windings to make sure that it's good. You know, you wouldn't want to see any shorts on the windings for your transformer. You should see a resistive measurement, but you definitely don't want to see any shorts. Actual dial plate and everything, all this could be cleaned up, but you know, like I said, uncovered quite a bit of rust. Now, if we're not talking about restoration, so I'm not worried about if there's a little bit of rust, but there is a lot of rust, and what that means is that certain things like trying to get this tube out back here is a bit difficult. I'm afraid of breaking the socket, so I don't want to force it out. That's going to play into if we can get this this off of around this tube right here. You know, the rust is going to have to be addressed. There's no way around it. I'm not talking about pristine, but it's going to have to be addressed in some manner. 3 knobs. I assume one is our on off. Hopefully it's not seized. Might be a band selector switch. Not too sure. That could be on off. So right here isn't really turning, so that could be an issue. But again, it could just be seized up. Might be a tone control. Yeah, I'm not too sure what each knob does. I'll have to check it out on our diagram. But bear with me here, and we'll turn it over and take a look at the underside of it. Okay, got the chassis kind of turned upright. Can't set it on top of itself because it's so heavy. I don't want to break those tubes or anything. Several paper film capacitors. Looks like we might have had some later replacements in here. But yeah, all these are going to have to go. Definitely going to have to go. Although they are old coverings on them. It's pretty cool looking. See several. This resistor here. It's like it's associated with our power heading into this, so it's going to be some form of current limiting, I assume. But I do see a particular issue. I'll have to go to my phone for this one and just kind of try to highlight it and show you. Okay, turning my flashlight on so look back here in this corner here. Focus, look at all that corrosion, and we got this black tarry substance that showed up on this block right here, coming from the transformer. Don't feel anything on the top, but it's most likely our power switch. Then is this guy right here, the one that's seized up. But yeah, so remember, this is the one that I said was the bulging top. There's quite a few caps inside of here. Where is it stamped at? Oh, we got one of them stamped there, 18 microfarad, 475 volts. But yeah, I've seen some other videos like when these caps go bad, they just leak all this black oily substance, and they just kind of, you know, not good. But it appears that this one definitely blew out its back end, and then the stuff that's ran down on the side of this block and just kind of congregated here in the center might be the whatever was originally inside that that can. So that's definitely going to be a big concern of mine. Okay, so now is a good time for me to interject with what I'm talking about here from the future. Such be the case with electronics, especially I am learning vintage electronics along the way
with these restorations, I've come to realize, and then hopefully, if you're a technician or an engineer, you probably have the same similar mindset. As much as you have as far as knowledge and general application of electronics fundamentals or electrical engineering fundamentals, or even in the scope of your daily work, the things you learn that make you an expert in that field, you always have to be open to realize that just because I am an expert in this thing doesn't mean I'm an expert in something else. So you have to accept criticism, and you also have to be open to always learning something new, right? Like I said, in my industry, I've been working on radios and other RF generating type equipment for 20 years, but vintage radios is something, for the most part, foreign, minus what you've seen on my channel here. So how does this translate into why I'm interjecting now in this video? Well, I'm waffling on a bit about the electrolyte, whatever is spilled out of the capacitor, and I'm thinking that is what's created that tarry substance on the back of that block, but that's not the case. Okay, so yes, the whatever electrolyte was inside a capacitor has, spilled out. That's why we have that corrosion, right? But that block itself, that block that I'm pointing to and waffling on a bit, it's actually a Bakelite block. And if I was to dismount that block from the backside of the chassis, right, and then I was to flip it over, inside the block is going to be additional capacitors I have to replace. However, I can't just get them because they're actually encased inside of tar. So that tar that you're seeing on the back of the block is the tar that is actually in the block itself. And so if I move into restoring this radio, I'm going to have to find a way to as best as possible to remove the tar out of those Bakelite blocks and then replace the capacitors that are inside of them. So that's my segue, I guess, interjection into this section, and then sure, we'll go back to me waffling around for a little bit.
And hopefully that didn't blow because our transformer is bad. Wires aren't in too bad of shape. I mean, dirty, but they're not in bad shape. They're not. Well, these down here definitely are. But I did notice something else. So I am assuming this is leads to our antenna. There would be determination points for our AM, or maybe this one's a short wave. I don't know, but we don't have an antenna for this thing. So that is something else that would need to be addressed. I'll take a look back over in the cabinet. Never recall seeing an antenna in here. The back cover's not on, so there's definitely no antenna. I mean, maybe the antenna's internal. Maybe that's just an external thing. I'd have to look that up, but that's going to be a concern for me. I think, yeah, let me get these nuts off. Case off. Just 4 hex head screws, but yeah, spider husks, and looks like we had a mouse living inside of here at 1.2, so something to keep in mind when it comes to cleaning up. There goes all of our oscillator coils, etc. For it looks like we got 2 bands here, medium wave and short wave band. So I believe that to be the case. We'll look it up here in a second. But nothing here really stands out as too specifically other than that cap. That can there. I mean, all of our electrolytics will have to be replaced. That's just these paper foils are going to have to be replaced. the tubes. We'll see what we'll check a few of them. Minus the ones that are stuck. We'll have to spray them and clean them out to get them out and check them. But you know, I'm not gonna do that for the purpose of this. So I'll probably put the price in down and say, hey, look, you know, I'll check one or maybe two and just say, hey, you know, if these tested good, you know, hopefully the other ones test good. But if they don't, depending on if I can find replacements, I'll add that price down into there. But we can start somewhere and then move up from there. Chassis inside doesn't look too bad, so I mean, it doesn't look like the rust has necessarily made its way into inside the chassis, so that's good at least. And so what's going on here? We got an Amber Alert on my phone. Yeah, weather alert. It looks like got a bad storm coming through. Yeah, pretty big wind advisory coming up. Okay, whatever. Oklahoma weather. It's Saturday. It could be any day, and we'll have that kind of alert. But anyways, yeah, it doesn't look like the rust has made its way inside, so that's at least good news. Still a bit of cleaning up that needs to occur. Hopefully this transformer is not bad, because that's going to be super expensive if we have to replace it. That'll probably be the most expensive thing, and maybe outside the tubes, that if it's bad, it's going to have to be replaced. But I'm going to do some testing in here and digging around, and so I can at least highlight out the parts that need to be replaced, and start working on a quote for this individual. Power cord and everything. Yeah, saw. Cracked all the pieces in here. Yeah, that's gonna have to go as well. Yeah, I think that's where I'm at for right now. We'll start working on pricing out parts for this guy, and coming up with a quote. And really, it's just going to depend on you know, how much the person is willing to pay. This isn't as simple as replacing a few caps and resistors and calling it a day. We've got some bigger issues here that have to be addressed, and that's going to take my time. And obviously, my time should cost something. So I keep that in mind. I'm not looking to break somebody's bank or anything of that nature, but yeah, I'm not going to do this type of work for free, or for a parts only, charging people for only the parts. That's not how this business goes. So, but yeah, let me dig around, and we'll come back and maybe look at a few other things if something important comes up. Okay, and here goes some information off of radiomuseum.com. Philco 38-4. Manufacturing years 1937, 1938. Broadcast receiver or past World War II tuner. We have some photos here. It appears to be the same thing. I mean, the dial's the same. Cabinet, for the most part, looks very similar, if not the same. Appears like, okay, that was speaker connection, so antenna somewhere towards the front as well. Have to figure that out. Of course, I didn't see the antenna in our cabinet, so what else we got? Yeah, 8 tube set, 6 U7G, 6A, 8G. Got a lot of the 6 series. 5Y, 4G. That's our rectifier, I think. Broadcast and shortwave. Yeah. 115 volts. Electromagnetic dynamic loudspeaker. Power out 5 watts undistorted. Gets into the case dimensions and stuff. But there we go. Okay, just gonna check our rectifier tube real quick, since I can remove that one easily. And we do have filament, that's good. It's coming up. See, emissions. we're out of the red. But it's not like it's getting up to green. It's questionable. Questionable. We'll have to see how that works inside the radio. But no grid leakage. No permanent short, so let's say we're pretty good there. I mean, pretty good might not be the best word. It is a sad too, with the emissions being low, but you know, it's not reading bad. So again, we'll have to see how it plays inside the radio. Well, ladies and gents, that's going to do it for this video of Having Fun Repairs. Hopefully the customer comes back and is willing to move forward to return these radios to service. But if not, and you know, no part 2 for either one of those radios. You know, and I won't go through the restoration like I did in my previous restoration series. This is probably just going to be a one video thing where I report a bit and go over it. But anyways, if you have an antique item that you're in need of restoration, electronic, audio, radio, etc., amplifiers, feel free to reach out to me. Business information is at the Google site and the description narrative for this video. Check there. New to this channel, please consider subscribing. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and all those other kind of jazz. But you know, with all that being said, thank you for your time. Take care and goodbye.
Mark?